Thanks for joining us tonight. We talk a lot about drinking and driving, but tonight, the state is sounding the alarm when it comes to the other part of DWI, driving while high. And it's not just weed. Cops across the state are catching drivers with cocaine, meth, fentanyl, and they say it's all happening more often. From 2013 to 2017, the Minnesota Department of Public Safety said just over 8,000 DWI incidents in our state involved drugged driving. But take a look at that. From 2018 to 2022, they nearly doubled, accounting for a whopping 96% increase. And the issue isn't going away. The Department of Public Safety's Office of Traffic Safety coordinated the most recent Labor Day DWI enforcement effort. And today, Sharon spoke to the director about where things stand. Hi, Sharon.
Hey, Kent. So, hearing from Mike Hansen, the director of the Office of Traffic Safety, after this data point of 96% increase is like hearing from a super disappointed dad. 1,140 people were arrested for impaired driving during this campaign, and the news release actually starts out with some of the most extreme stories.
A driver is pulled over for speeding and arrested for a DWI. Turns out the driver had over 145 grams of meth and cocaine mixed with fentanyl. Separately, a sheriff's deputy arrests the same driver twice in 3 days for DWI. Mike Hansen says they share these stories for good reason.
Numbers and data are only as good as the story that goes with them. Obviously, somebody who's arrested 3 times in 2 days, there is some serious issues going on there with chemical addiction, and I'm going to guess probably some mental health issues as well.
While this year's numbers are cause for concern, with 19,045 drivers arrested for DWI in the state so far, compared to 18,223 same time last year, a 4.5% increase, and the 96% increase in drugged driving arrests from 2018 to 2022, Hansen says it's simply a reflection of the times.
The survey took place right at the beginning of the opioid epidemic, which continues to plague us to a certain extent. Alcohol is still a big challenge for us. But I think the success part of this is at the same time that these drug impaired driving trends were emerging, Minnesota law enforcement really stepped up and they got much better at being able to detect, apprehend, and process that drug impaired driver.
Even celebrating what's called DWI All-Stars, where as a reward for arresting a lot of impaired drivers, law enforcement get to throw the first pitch at a Twins game.
Officers that make multiple arrests during a single shift deserve recognition because that is nothing short of outstanding, dedicated police work that is keeping our communities safe.
When it comes to impaired driving, Hansen says no one drug is ever, quote, better than the other.
Impaired is impaired is impaired, and it doesn't matter what you're impaired by. Alcohol, cannabis, illegal substances, prescription drugs. If you feel different, you're going to drive different, and you're probably going to drive dangerously. There is a huge misconception that cannabis isn't as bad as some of the other stuff. Nothing could be further from the truth. Compounding that is the fact that cannabis is the most frequently encountered substance when we're looking at somebody who's using 2 or more substances, which is getting to be a significant challenge on our roads.
Speaking of cannabis, the Office of Traffic Safety is currently working to procure partners that will provide the kits for oral fluid drug testing. This voluntary program was funded by the last legislative session and will run for about a year to gather data. Hansen said that you can expect to see those tests out in the field starting around mid-October.
So you mentioned the word voluntary. What does that exactly mean for a program like this?
Yeah, so this pilot that's happening for a year is apparently just to gather data. So the test results, whether they come back positive or not, cannot be used against the person who has been arrested on suspicion of impaired driving. But driving while high is also impaired driving, like you heard. So officers will be using other methods to prosecute those who do. Kent?
Yeah, that's a big barrier to step over there. All right, thanks a lot, Sharon.